Let's see what we're doing here. Ah, well, hello everyone. Good morning. How's everybody doing? You know, I've been asked. Hi, Gail. Good morning. I was asked if I could start doing more morning videos because not everybody can do the late night videos. And we have a lot of our community living in Europe, Eastern Europe. Just found out yesterday, welcome to the Russians. I found out that 3% of our fans are from Russia. So we welcome them. Also, some of the most translations of the text here are, out of Europe, Russia, etc. So it's nice. Hi, Netherlands. Dutch was actually one of the main languages that was being translated, which surprised me that the Dutch were doing that because they speak such amazing English. But so I do want to try and come in early so that people east of us, because we're pretty west when you think about it. So we have something fun to do that I've never done before. And, it's interesting. I've been watching the History channels, the UFO research that's coming out. Now we have like this elite private team of former US intelligence people, Pentagon people, and they're trying to figure out if it's the Chinese that are doing these UFOs. They're trying to figure out, I just recently realized I can talk to you in a normal voice because the acoustics are so good that we can just talk like this. And I don't need to be this loud, aggressive. So I apologize if I was doing that a bit much. I keep psychologically thinking I'm in a lecture hall because I look at the numbers. Oh, there's 250. And then I have to remind myself, I can just talk one-on-one with you, and I don't need to raise my voice. You all hear me just fine, right? So last night and this morning, I did a remote view of some of the UFOs that are out there, and I'm trying to figure out the technology that they were using. If you are a physicist at a NASA, we have a couple physicists, former physicists, research scientists, etc., that do watch the channel. So if you want to pipe in and explain to me or to the group the science and the physics, what I've been able to figure out appears to be, I know you're all excited, dun, 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 dun. It appears to be photon technology. And a photon is a unit of light, right? And a unit of light can operate at different frequencies, different bands or frequencies of light, okay? So what we're looking at with these UFO crafts appears to be a type of technology that uses photons, light emissions, in order to create propulsion. All right, they're producing light. They're producing light of various different frequencies, and the frequencies of the light determine where the craft will move and also determine the rotation of the craft. This is based on standard remote viewing technique. The scientific community or the people that are researching these craft are welcome to look at this data with physicists in order to understand what I'm looking at, but I'm just going in blind. I don't have the type of scientific training to understand what I'm looking at, but I can tell you what I'm looking at as a remote viewer. So I'm going to start with the first image of what appears to be how the craft moves. This is one of the standard shapes that we've been seeing of the crafts. And if you look at this craft, you can see it has a series of lights. And what it appears, based on the remotes of UFOs, is that the lights are the propulsion system. Again, the lights are the propulsion system. Various different frequencies create various different propulsion speeds. Various different frequencies of the lights produce various different propulsion speeds. This craft is attempting to lift. When it lifts, the lower lights drop to a lower frequency. There's no heat signature. The violet or lower range is off or at low, it's lower energy. And the yellow light is at a higher frequency, and this is allowing the craft to lift. The energy here is dropped, which has allowed the craft to become lighter. That's what you're seeing here with the purple. Those are turned off, or they're at low emission. The higher lights that are in yellow are at a more rapid frequency, and this is so they turn this on low and they turn this on a higher, and that's the technology. Now, what if I wanted to take this craft and land on and take a look at something? This is the landing. I drop the lights to a lower frequency, depending upon how quickly I want to land. The energy is now focused below with the yellow lights, and now the propulsion is taking me down. This is the first image I did of the remote. I was up last night, a long time doing this. Okay, then I focused on a craft. I was looking at an image from the Air Force that was doing a rotation. Let me show you the rotation. The lights in the bottom are practically off, and they appear to be able to use the propulsion in the bottom to lock the craft in place. Each propulsion system can go independent and has an independent speed based on the frequency of the light. This craft is rotating like a top, locked by the two lights at the bottom that are at a lower frequency. The higher frequency is going to drive the turn, right? But depending upon what the lights are doing will determine the movement of the craft. And remember, this is a multiple propulsion system. It's not one propulsion system. It's multiple propulsions using light emissions in order to create movement. So the highest frequency appears to be red, and when the red goes on, the speed of the craft will increase. So if you're just coming down nice and slow and you need some energy, you would turn on the frequency of the yellow to gently come down, lowering the energy here. So you want to balance how quickly you come down. I'm doing the slower frequency here, higher frequency here. Lower frequency here, higher frequency. And then again, rotation. The bottom of the craft has been locked. They figured out how to lock in place, and then they're playing with the frequencies in order to cause this type of a movement. And then when they want to leave quickly, they move to the red speed and they're gone. That is a remote view of the technology of the craft. It appears to be photon. They seem to have been able, whoever created these, to harness and use photon technology in order to create speed and movement. And this ability to harness light and manipulate light in order to cause propulsion is the technology. And the speed of the propulsion is based on the bands of light being used. That's the technology. So anybody have any questions? What do you think it is? I didn't see anybody in the craft, by the way. I looked. I couldn't. Some of these crafts appear to be intelligently, they're intelligently maneuvered, but I'm not seeing green men. I didn't see anything in the craft. I saw a propulsion system that was being manipulated using night light technology. So now if you watch, the History Channel Unsolved, where now they've got that special team that's working with Mark Rubio, John McCain was also involved, upper echelons of the Pentagon. Look, I'm not risking national security or anything by telling people what I saw as a remote viewer. I'm just giving the information so that the scientific community that watches this can they can scratch their wooden noggin. And that's kind of the next phase, I guess, in our technical advancement, because if we can figure out how to do this, then using the energy of light in order to create a craft that has multiple propulsion systems, and then the frequency of the light is determining the speed with which the craft moves. That's pretty much what whoever they are is doing. What do y'all think? Who do you think they are? For a long time, people were asking me if I could, go in and look at a craft, and I just didn't have any interest in it. I thought, oh, well, it's probably the Russians. And a lot of they have found that a lot of this stuff is Russia and China doing drone technology. And this does appear to be some type of advanced drone. If it's China or Russia, that's pretty impressive. Yeah, I have no idea what I'm looking at. Oh, it was a caravan of crafts? Well, it's kind of funny that John McCain lived in Arizona and was one of the main people that was interested in this type of technology. So I was watching the History Channel version, which I think is the most scientifically based, because they've got members of the Pentagon that are participating with the research. And I started looking at the crafts and then drawing them and trying to do the remote, like, what am I looking at? And putting myself in the HCRV altered state and then going back in and trying to connect with the target, et cetera. And then I use the more classic techniques. But I liked seeing the rotation. When you see those crafts that are rotating, if you don't understand the technology, then it probably looks pretty freaky, like, oh my gosh, because The craft is literally doing this, right? But what's causing it is that they figured out how to, in space, create stability by somehow locking the lower propulsion system. And then you've got lights here and here at various different speeds, allowing the rotation. Isn't that cool? While you're locked at the bottom. And so then you can show off to the Americans, and they're like, what the hell is that? What the hell is that? Well, what the hell that is that they've locked themselves in place so that they're stable. You wouldn't be able to move them. If you crashed into this craft when it was locked like that, it ain't going nowhere, babe. And then it rotated. Or it might be at a lower frequency and moving, semi-locked and rotating, right? How'd they do it? Through photon technology. So we say that light is both a particle and a wave. This is, I know very little. I did terrible in physics, by the way. I had to repeat physics, the first physics. So don't take my word for this, but it's both a photon and a wave. It's both a particle and a wave. It can move in interesting ways, like based on its frequency, but it's also a particle, a unique entity in and of itself, which is what we call, and that unit is called the photon. So last night I was watching, I think it was the 6th episode of Unexplained Aircraft thing, whatever, the UFOs. And they were saying that whatever this technology is has the capacity to turn on and turn off our nuclear facilities. So it already has, going back to like the 1940s. And they were talking about seeing red lights over nuclear facilities and locking on the nuclear facilities in Montana, firing them up, and then shutting them all down for 24 hours. So, and the light they saw was red, which, based on what I'm seeing in the remote, appears to be a fairly high frequency that they're using. There's another craft that's like a Tic Tac they talked about. They've also talked about square. There's some square craft. And there's also Tic Tac crafts that don't appear to have any visible propulsion system. I didn't remote view those. But some of these, it sounds crazy, but it almost looked like some of this stuff was cargo. It's almost like some of this stuff is cargo ships. Like when they have to, whoever they are has to send something from one point to another, they will use these Tic Tac cargo ships that have no basic propulsion that's visible, and it appears to have stuff in it. And part of what it's doing is just it's like a train, right? It's carrying supplies from one area to the other. That's what this looks like. It's almost like a supply ship, the Tic Tac one. So the Tic Tac one appears to be like some kind of a supply ship. It's kind of, maybe one of these days we'll connect with higher beings and we'll say, what was that Tic Tac? And they say, oh, that was my locker. It got loose. I moved from, Santa Fe to Georgia, and my locker was, it almost looked like that. So you've got this locker run amok that can be semi-cloaked, and they're following it, and it is set up in such a way that it can bounce off before it crashes with another object, which is why it can get close. But it was almost like a locker of supplies. It's like, You're off course. You're supposed to be in Georgia. You know, it was very strange, but it really did. Some of these looked almost like transport vehicles, transporting supplies. And then you have the one that's square, and this also appeared to have, it's almost like a techie. It's like techies were operating this, and also it appeared to be some type of a supply ship. Isn't that crazy? So what I took away from that was that different craft supply do different things. Some are just transport vehicles, some are research vehicles, some are drones. But the takeaway from all of this, the missing link or the great eureka, is that somehow this technology involved isolating or harnessing photon emissions in order to create propulsion, and that these photons or these emissions at different frequencies could create different speeds. That's all I have. That's all I know. And what I know isn't much. The other thing is that whatever this is tends to have a really great sense of humor, because people are like, we're terrified, we're terrified. They're playing with our nuclear power plants and our nuclear weapons, etc. But my feeling is if they had wanted to blow us up, they would have done it a long time ago. Isn't that crazy? All right. So I thought I would hang and do some. Oh, Giuliani. Yeah, he's going to lose his life. Everybody's going to lose. Well, I think Giuliani lost his protection in the FBI. You know, I mean, God, what the heck happened to that guy? He used to prosecute these people, and then somehow he got in with the Russian mafia. Um, I don't know who they are. Uh, Misty. Well, there's multiple crafts. There's multiple crafts that have been visible. Some have been confirmed to be drones from. There are 3 countries that have advanced drone technology. Or 4, excuse me. The United States, China, Russia, and Israel all have extremely advanced drone technology. So those are the likely suspects. But Israel is an allied country, and so if it had been the Israelis, we would have known, and because they share their technology. But this technology goes back the technology that people are seeing goes back to the 40s. So, I mean, the takeaway from the videos I'm watching, nobody knows what it is, but I think it's fairly obvious it's not. This type of technology doesn't appear to be anything that we currently understand. But it's not the only thing. I mean, we've seen Russian drones. We've seen particularly Russian drones over Alaska, entering into U.S. airspace because Putin has a vested interest in that area. We've also seen the Chinese working with drones, et cetera. And sometimes that's what it is. And then we have issues with international airspace going into U.S. airspace. Also, they're working on drones that can be launched from a submarine and go from atmosphere to the water. And there are experiments like that going on off the coast of California, which is why originally Americans thought, oh, it's our top secret drone research where we're looking at aquatic drones that can go both aerial and aquatic. And what's important about aquatic drones is that they can hide, right? So and they can go back into the submarine. But we're nowhere near at the point of our drone technology to be able to go from heights of 40,000 feet and splash into the water into, say, some type of a craft that's underwater in 30 seconds, 5 seconds, something like that. All right, let's do some blitzes. It's not from around here. I don't know where it's from. I mean, I'd be interested to hear what David Johnson has to say, because David Johnson has done some remotes, I think, on it also. But not all the craft. I think it's important for people to realize that not all the craft are aliens. Some of them are Americans. Our military created fake UFO stories, and so did the Russians, in order to deflect from some of these experimental aircraft. It was a deliberate disinformation campaign so that Americans could be manipulated into thinking it was UFOs, when what it really was experimental aircraft. So America has acknowledged that they did that, and the Russians have done it, and the idea is that people will be psychologically, if you are a pilot or somebody like that, and you're afraid that you're going to be crazy because you saw a UFO and you've decorated a drone to look like a UFO to psych with the Americans, and you know that the Americans aren't going to report you entering US airspace or entering into military areas, because they're going to be afraid that people are going to think that they're crazy. And so it's a great psych technique. If you want to go in and start checking out military bases, you just send in a drone, dress it up to look like a UFO. So that has happened. Not, both countries have done those, played those types of games. So that's what's frustrating and confusing for investigators, trying to figure out if it's just some experimental aircraft or something that another country is doing, and they're playing a psychological game with us. Well, the Americans won't report it. Some of the advanced drones that are coming out do look like alien spacecraft. Some of them can hover. Some of them are extremely large. Some of them can also be used as cargo ships. They're now developing cargo ship technology, which is interesting, because when you go into the remote of some of these advanced crafts, particularly the Tic Tac craft, it really does look like some type of a cargo thing that's simply there to ship from one point to another. And each craft seems to be doing something different. So that's the thing they're trying to figure out is, are we just being psyched out? Is it something that's being made to look like it's advanced, when that's really just a psychological trick? They're playing with our eyes. There's that possibility too. You can create visual anomaly that looks like one thing, but it's really something else, in order to psych out your enemy. So they're also looking at that. It appears to be doing this, but it really isn't. Another theory is that they're holographs, that the enemy is creating really powerful looking holographs that appear to look like crafts, but they're actually holographs. And so they're from somewhere, they're emitting some kind of a light that can produce some type of holograph, and then it's playing with the psyche of the military, where they're seeing this flying holograph and thinking it's an actual. So that's another thing that they're considering, is that it's all just sleight of hand, and working with light, etc., in order to create what appears to be one thing when it's really something else. Those are all the theories, and they're all valid. But when members of the Pentagon that are watching nuclear weapon sites say that they have witnessed craft turning off our nuclear weapons, and then they go out into the woods to follow the lights, and then according to the report by the people who are in the Pentagon, in security, and are watching these facilities, And they go on record saying, we were standing there, the craft came over us. 1 minute my friend was there, and 1 minute he was gone. He disappeared in front of me and then reappeared in front of me. And he now has permanent medical problems after that event. So then it leaves you to ask, what's worse, that crazy people are in control of our nuclear weapons, that believe that they were abducted and are on record saying this happened to me and are now getting medical benefits, by the way, for whatever happened to them. And it was actually John McCain, his secretary, that fought to make sure that that individual who wound up with medical problems after that event got his medical benefits. So now we're not talking about La La Land and Little Green Men. We're talking about documented incidents with senators like John McCain making sure that the people on these bases that have been exposed to this and are experiencing medical problems are getting their benefits. That's the point we're at right now. So it's worth talking about it, right? It is what it is. I don't think it's all that scary. If they look at how advanced the technology is, if they wanted to blow us up, they don't want to blow us up. They want to scare us into denuclearizing. Look at what we can do. We can shut you all down. They've done the same thing to the Russians. They've caused red alerts, shutting the entire nuclear facility. They turn them on, get them ready to launch. What the hell? They have no control over everything, and then everything shuts down while this red orb is above the base. And it didn't happen once. This has happened multiple times. And now, associated with that, they're reporting witnessing abductions, people disappearing, you know. So there, even me, you know how skeptical I am. I'm like, show me the data, show me the data, show me the data. I live on planet Earth. No, that's a drone. That's a drone that's been made to look at, show me the data. Even I have to say, okay, this is not normal. This is, just ask the Oracle of Mila. Here we have it. We have the Oracle of Mila, first conceived in an ancient African forest. She comes from Africa. Mm-hmm. Don't you? Mm-hmm. Your people come from Africa? Your kitty ancestors come from Africa. Did you know that? Yeah. Just care. It's cool, isn't it? It's fun hanging out with you guys in the morning. I should do this more often. I've been watching all the readers. Oh my God, they're so good. I really like Autumn, Orange and Black. Y'all had a chance to check out her videos? She's so sweet. Okay. Thank you. Okay, would people like me to do the Impasse prayer and maybe do some blitzes? Since I don't have patience for, I think, another hour or two. It's really nice waking up early, and I might do this more often. Y'all like this? Particularly those of you in Europe? This is great, right? We can hang with our friends in Europe. We're all awake. Isn't this awesome? I really like Autumn. I like Linda G. I got to see her last night prayer work, and I really respect her for doing that. And I believe in prayer, and it was just really nice to see somebody, just doing that, of, not getting paid, just the work it takes to get a list together, the energy it takes to pray over people. I really respect that. And then, of course, Sheila and David were on yesterday. David Johnson, Sheila of Celtic Tarot. So I was hanging with them too. Beautiful people. I'm waiting for the call. I will give you a blitz, but I didn't get the call. So I'm just hanging until somebody tells me to blitz, blitz, blitz away. Right, Mila? I figure if they haven't done that, then they still want to talk. Linda's great. So is Lena. She's become a dear friend. Yes, and her prayers help. It's just powerful. You know, it's interesting. Speaking about light power and the power of light, that's actually what Linda was doing yesterday. She was holding the energy of, and each light does a different frequency of healing, and she was sending it to the person. And I think we are about to harness some really powerful information through light. I know our workbook for HCRV1, Hands of Light and Light Emerging, the author is actually a physicist from NASA. Barbara Brennan used to work as a physicist at NASA. So it's kind of cool to see the juxtaposition between the scientific community and light workers. Oh, I got the call. I'm sorry. I'm seeing people say blitz, blitz, blitz away. All right. So let's do the impasse prayer, shall we? Yeah, we're going to, let me get some, let me start writing the list down because I was so happy to see that Maya Wiley took second. The Mayoral race. All right, let's do it. Oh, welcome to the Impasse journey. Hi, Hutnoff. We had such a great time. The last lecture of HCRV, and we made it public so people could see the basic theories behind HCRV. That was awesome. All right, let's do this. If you want to recite the Impasse prayer with me out loud so that you can be in the groove, you're welcome to do so. Yeah, let's put some positive energy out there for the community today. Okay. I want to call on white light protection for myself and this community as we ask permission from Spirit to access the Akashic records. We call on our spirit guides and our good angels to be with us. Please give us the clarity and the wisdom that is needed to empower all of us on our journeys, to make the best decisions for ourselves, our families, the planet, the people we love, but also to help those we may have strife with. And together collectively as a community, we say, Amen. Ooh, I could hear you praying. That was nice. Okay, so the first thing we're looking at is a building collapsed? Well, there's building collapse, bridges collapsed because they stole your money and my money that was supposed to go to infrastructure and they put it in the pockets of their creepy friends. So that's why the infrastructure is collapsing all over the United States. Okay, so we've got a question about the Koch brothers. We've got, okay, hold on a second. Blitz, blitz, blitz away. Let me see what the first question is. That case, oof. All right, let's see here. The mayor's race. Oh my God, you guys have so many. Let's do the mayor's race first because that was the first question. This question is coming from Tamara Rose. Hi, Tamara. Good to see you here. She wants us to do a blitz on the mayor's race. So we'll just do a basic one and see who's winning. I'll just do a blitz, 4 or 5 cards, because my table's been taken hostage by my familiar. And be sure to also check out Nasty Women Tarot. They're really nice as well. And of course, all the other great readers, Lena Rodriguez, Susan Lin. The mayor's race. It's heating up. It's getting really intense. The lead person is going to offer jobs to his competition in exchange for them to bow out so that he can take the lead. However, there's still a possibility that Maya Wiley would take it. First card is the 8 of Wands, which is fast, fast, quick, quick, boom, boom, boom. And it's also August. So things are happening really quick. We can see here an offer being made, Ace of Cups, which could potentially mean that, for example, Yang conceded. It could be that some kind of an agreement is made between the main candidate and the other candidates to work together or to have a position as mayor. And you can see here that the new economy, jobs, etc., but specifically the new economy, which evidently the economic problems that happened in New York, the stress of COVID, sick, poor, sick, desperate, etc., has caused a spike in crime in New York. But you can see this nice green economy, job stability being one of the main focuses of the new. It's starting to look like it's either going to be Maya Wiley or I apologize, off the top of my head, I'm not very good with names, who the other gentleman is who's leading job security. There's a feeling here that some people got themselves in a situation they cannot get out of. I keep feeling this from the lead person. It's almost like he doesn't want to be mayor. I don't know why I'm seeing this, but I'm seeing this. And then the final outcome is the High Priestess, and that's Maya Wiley's card, a woman who possesses the Torah or the law. So she could still pull this off. What's heartfelt, what gives me optimism is what's great is that both the first and second candidates are people of color that are concerned about human rights, etc. So the difference between the two candidates, though, I think, is that the first candidate, I think, is more focused on policing, whereas I think Maya Wiley is going to be more holding the police accountable. I still feel that Maya Wiley stands a chance with these cards. Something could happen with, he doesn't want the job. It's so weird. He went through all that effort to get this, and now he's like, what have I done? Now people are depending on me, and I can't get out of this. I still feel best person for the job may be Maya Wiley. He doesn't want this. Look at that. Oh my God. I did not know when I started this. I did not know. Oh, what's his name? Could someone please tell me this individual's name? The main guy. He doesn't want, he started the campaign. He had the best of intentions, and then something happens where I don't think that people who run for mayoral races, etc., realize that every aspect of their life is going to be under a microscope. They know it, but they don't know it. And there's something about this where, to some extent, Adams, thank you very much, Eric Adams, there's something about this that he is not totally happy with getting the job. It's going to be if Eric Adams wins and he's favored, he's not going to have an easy, the first year is going to be kind of rough, but after a year, things get better for him if he wins. Thank you for the donation, Deb. That's very kind of you. Hi, Tamara Rose. Love and light to you. And hello to Thor and Loki. And Thor and Loki are beautiful too, I'm sure. Okay, next question I'm seeing here is the sentence for Derek Chauvin. Derek Chauvin was found guilty. He was immediately put into custody, but we're now waiting on the sentencing. So this next question has to do, comes from Shiny. What will the sentence be in the Derek Chauvin case? All right, the Derek Chauvin sentence. I feel when I go into this energy more aligned with Derek Chauvin than I do with the judge, in the sense that as Derek Chauvin, I felt before this incident like my life was already over. In the sense that as Derek Chauvin, I feel that nothing matters anymore and that I truly don't care. I don't care what happens. I'm done. When this incident happened, I was done and I honestly didn't care. And it was almost like I was daring people to do something about it. It had gotten to a point I had gotten to a point in my life where I truly no longer gave a blank. I walked away from everything because everything meant nothing. I didn't care. And so it goes into this, when you go into Derek Chauvin's energy, you have to ask yourself, well, what happened to you that you were at a psychological point in your life where you didn't care? You didn't care what happened to you. You didn't care what happened to anybody else. You truly don't care. This is an individual who I see spending 11 to 12 years in prison and accepting it and accepting what happened because on some level he intentionally threw everything away. Then you have the foolish behavior, the ethos of the nation, digging, right? Going through information. And then you have the perfect judge, Yehuda, right? Who was that leader of the tribe, sound judge. He's got the Lion of Judah there. So it will be a just sentence. But I don't feel, as Derek Chauvin, that it matters anymore. Nothing you can do to me is going to hurt me because I no longer care. If you're trying to hurt me by throwing me in prison for 12 years or however long he's there, it won't matter because there's nothing there for you to take away. That's Derek Chauvin. Let's do a clarification. There's the evidence. You can see here. It's presenting evidence. Victims are going to speak. A woman will speak. Dark woman, intelligent, secret, or talk. Some woman will talk, possibly a victim. The courts have reviewed everything on both sides. You can see the lover card, which would indicate both sides. They truly looked at this from every angle. There is an attempt by the defense to paint Derek Chauvin, to show mercy on him because of the fact that he served for years as a public servant, and for many years did good work, and that should also be taken into consideration by the judge. There is good work he did do at one point. There's also a psychological evaluation that was presented to the judge showing the mental state of this individual at the time, which should also be taken into consideration. He came to the best conclusion he could, the judge. You can see the mastery card here and the King of Wands, who is the perfect leader. It will be the right sentence. It's tragic all around. No one should get to a point of depression where they no longer care about anybody else's life, including their own. And that is the fundamental issue here. When this level of burnout and depression is taking place in the police department, it needs to be identified early on so that they are no longer a threat to themselves or anyone else. And that is how we prevent this from going forward. That's basically what I see. So yeah, it will be a just sentence. You can see that here. It's also, it's the Master's Code. I think he will talk about it. I just heard somebody's question. It happens periodically. I'll hear the. I think that he will talk about it. I think that he will be interviewed in prison. I'm seeing him being allowed to take an interview, if it's on 60 Minutes, possibly, in his prison cell. Yes, it's okay. After sentencing, he's entitled to talk. Not before. But after, if he wants to take an interview with somebody like 60 Minutes coming in and talking to him about how he mentally got to be where he's at, that day's going to come. Yeah. Wow. It's how do you get to be that mentally ill? The reason we focus on the perpetrator is because we don't want to create perpetrators. If you can intervene early, if somebody had intervened, this went on for a really long time. The psychological state that I'm in as Derek Chauvin, this should have been, nobody cared. They ignored him. They had their plates full. They trivialized, minimized, and he was written up. There were two people I saw who complained about him that were co-workers, a man and a woman. People were getting moved around. He was, one of the reasons why he was with younger new officers was because other officers hadn't wanted to work with him. Both a female was threatened. He threatened a male officer based on the remotes we could figure out. The people that were in charge of him simply moved officers around and had a talking with him. They didn't have the energy or the time and felt overwhelmed, and so they didn't do anything. And that's why it got to this point. If we want to prevent future victims, we have to intervene as soon as we see signs of this type of mental dysfunction. Not because we're out to get Derek Chauvin. That's not where I'm coming from as an empath, but because somebody died. People have more than one person. And there's got to be early intervention and early detection in police forces. We can help these people before they become criminals. And that's what we have to have solidly in place. It is a hard job. It is a hard job to be a police officer, and they do experience trauma every day. They see murder, and they can often see the worst of humanity, and it can take a toll on people's mental health. And that's basically what I feel. Yeah. What do y'all think about that? Pretty interesting. Pretty interesting. Didn't the Navy see the Tic Tac ships go into the water off California coast? No, I think that was a separate. That was, I think, another craft. I don't know, but the Tic Tac one almost looked like some type of a cargo ship. Oh, are we having kirtan? Yeah, Deborah, I'll go. I'll meet you. Can you send me an email at whimsyanderson@gmail.com and we can meet up, maybe go have lunch and go to kirtan together? That sounds cool. Are you going to be there, Deborah? So there's a question here. Sarah, hi, Sarah. Good to see you. Let's go with Sarah's question next. Somebody had wrote me saying she commented multiple times and I didn't respond to her comments. I think it was when I was teaching HCRV1 or maybe it was Sunday. And I do my best, but I'm reading cards, I'm remote viewing, and I'm also checking, and I don't have anybody here helping. So it's not personal, right? I know sometimes it might feel personal, but anyway, I wanted to write the person back, and the email bounced. So she was like, I tried multiple times to ask a question. She was very upset, and it's like, what's your question? You just emailed me, which is a great way to get your question out. Or you can put it in the comments, the community section comments, and then I can get to your question. So it was kind of, somebody's being paid to throw the race? I don't know about that. All right, so Nancy Pelosi has started a January 6th commission. Let's see what comes of it. Will the committee be effective in bringing forth the truths of the event, which are painfully obvious to all of us? Some of the insurrectionists are saying they're sorry, that they were confused. Now they're embarrassed. One of them that got recently off said, I'm extremely embarrassed and ashamed of myself. So there you go. Oh, welcome to Fairies and Angels, Martha. Aw, Snagglepuss, thank you for that donation. They're following the money. One of the things that happened was that there's a disinformation campaign that seems to be going on with members of Congress that seem to have a vested interest in protecting their constituents that were involved. The judgment comes. Look at this, the Four of Pentacles, which is frugality, but it's also seriously looking at the mirror, right? Seriously looking at the situation. I think members of Congress are going to have to leave because you've got this people leaving, and then you've got like the flim flam man or somebody possibly gaslighting and la la la. They're dancing around. They're not showing you their stuff. And then you've got movement. I'd be curious what's the future of Matt Gaetz is going to be, because look at those cards for Congress. People are going to have to go bye-bye. And look at these con artists. It was almost like people were conning and playing psychological games, and so that they could get money, playing with people's minds. There was a financial incentive to do this. Giuliani got temporarily or permanently suspended. That's interesting. Let's take a look at Giuliani next. All right, so this question is coming from Elizabeth Fanning. Looks like Giuliani just got suspended from practicing law in New York. It's not really of a question, but let's go ahead and take a look at Giuliani next. Giuliani's future. Yeah, I would say this is pretty serious. It's over for him. His career is over. His law practice is over. It's being shut down. It looks like multiple parts of his practice and his business are under investigation. You can see the masters coming in, ripping through everything. There's going to be a taint team. Looks almost like a taint team ripping through everything. What goes back to him? What will be used as evidence? What the investigation entailed was trying to find out who was paying him. He took money from foreign governments so that legally he could go under the radar. It didn't look like a campaign donation. Instead, the money went to Giuliani, and the client was the Ukrainian mafia. You can see here, corruption was with a partnership. This is also the entrepreneur who has global contacts. He's holding the globe. So there appears to be some information that's coming out regarding partnerships of a global nature, and it would appear that Giuliani's time is finished due to these contacts. Let's do a clarification. That was kind of weird how it came out, huh? Ouch. Ouch, 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 ouch. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. Ouch, ouch, ouch. Damn. Damn, damn, damn. You know what happened to this guy? This guy got caught by the feds. This is my FBI card, right? The hidden queen, right? Holds the information. They got the treasure trove that they were talking about, multiple people that were blackmailed. They also found out he was taking money from the, he was he was compromised with this partnership. It was a global partnership. Look at all this data coming out, the treasure trove. Look at the feds. It's over. Then there's some kind of prosecution, some investigation that takes place. But look at this. After some kind of prosecution happens, you have a celebration. He's going to be charged. This is actual legal charges. There's going to be, is there a grand jury yet for him? Right, Copper Broom. He was a bad cop for a really long time. Good point from Copper Bloom about Derek Chauvin. Let's go ahead and pin that. Exactly. You know, he was bad. He was sick for a very, very long time. And so his supervisors and the people that are in charge that did nothing are culpable as well. That's basically my conclusion from from the remotes I did was that the apathy, because it was too much work. It was too much work by his supervisors to do anything about it. And so they simply brushed it under the rug, brushed it under the rug, brushed it under the rug until eventually they couldn't brush it under the rug anymore. That's what it looks like. Yeah, Salome, that's right. That's what it looks like. Crazy. Yeah, minor investigation, Salome, but they didn't want to bother. You're right, Salome. I don't know. Did you do a remote on that also, Salome? Were you also tuning in? Because the apathy and the exhaustion was exactly how I felt. There is a grand jury about the Trump organization. I'm curious if another one is going on separately with Giuliani because of his blackmail schemes. He was getting money from everybody, and anybody who was terrorizing his client, they were getting dirt on and holding hostage and taking money from. Yeah, pretty bad, huh? As somebody who does energy work, I was talking to Sheila because Sheila's a remote view and she does HCRV. And we were talking about this. And when she went into her gut and when she connected with the target, Donald Trump, she said, wow, this feels like I'm suicidal. And it was interesting. I felt the same way. And I feel as Donald Trump, like the last thing in the world I want is for the whole world for me to be completely exposed as a con artist would be devastating to me and my ego. Because the whole character that he created was winning, keep winning. And that was the fantasy. And then to be publicly shamed is not a good thing. Okay, so we're going to go ahead. John McAfee, no, he was John McAfee murder. Yeah, let's find out. John McAfee's father committed suicide. John McAfee also, I believe, was a recovering drug addict. Is that correct? I did not know he had been imprisoned in Spain. If he was under investigation as part of some international crime ring manipulating Bitcoin stock, possibly working with international crime syndicates and to manipulate people using crypto, then that's, if it's part of a larger ongoing investigation into corruption into crypto, that might have been why he was in jail. But let's take a look. See, it always goes back to the money, the crypto, the hidden money. We've been doing this for almost 5 years, and it's always the money, the hidden money, the crypto, Doesn't surprise me what happened to John McAfee because of the stuff we've been getting. This is a dangerous world of dangerous people moving money around. And if you have information about people, it's just like people are, was he Epsteined, right? He died the same way Epstein died in another prison. So that's why people are feeling that way about John McAfee. And because of his involvement with crypto. Putin's favorite money. Yeah, they might get him on tax evasion, right? Which is this because what? They take their money, they put it into crypto, they hide it. And so if you're getting paid in crypto, you don't have to pay your taxes, right? And it goes back to the millions and billions of dollars that are leaving the United States and are being hidden in the Cayman Islands. And so they know that Americans government is looking for dollars, so they switch everything to crypto. Then they promote the crypto to get people to start buying it, and then they flush it or move it into another currency, and then they crash it, and then they manipulate people to buy, and then there's all kinds of things they're doing. No, it wasn't murder. It was suicide. There's nobody here. There's nobody here that has harmed this individual. If he got, what I'm feeling in the remote is that this individual struggled with addiction, cocaine, alcohol, struggled with clean and sober, moved on to prescription pills. If the doctor prescribed the prescription pills and I didn't get my prescription pills for a week and a half, 2 weeks, then that could have put me, and I have a past history of potentially bipolar, or this looks actually more like borderline personality disorder. And if my father suffered from borderline personality disorder and I'm off my oxycodone and my prescription drugs for a week and a half, that's what this feels like, which is similar to what I felt when I was Anthony Bourdain. Bipolar, manic, deep depression, migraine headaches. And for whatever reason, I can't get my meds. I can't get my drugs. Either because I'm in prison. If I'm in prison and I can't get my prescription drugs, that's a problem. So I tell myself I'm clean and sober because I'm not doing cocaine anymore. Hey, I'm not doing that stuff. My doctor prescribed these. Meanwhile, I'm an opioid addict, right? Or I've got another addiction, or I'm on amphetamines, right? All prescribed by my doctor. So that's not addiction because my doctor prescribed. That's how I feel as this individual. He's in the grave. There's evidence against him. They got what I'm seeing a barrister and the courts. They had significant evidence against this individual, and it does look like the main focus was on following the money. You can see also the courts here, the ethos, and then the movement. This appears to be suicide due to aggravations, mental illness, and inability to get access to the drugs that he was addicted, the pharmaceutical drugs that he was addicted to. That's what I get. And I would tentatively say, based on this energy, that this appears to be someone who's possibly a borderline. Suffers from not just bipolar aspects, but also borderline, not properly medicated, and using prescription drugs, which can happen with people who are borderline and bipolar because they want the amphetamine, the dopamine rush, because it's a pick-me-up and it takes them out of the depression. You have uppers and downers. And this individual, well, if he was on benzos too, because you can go back and forth. You can take an amphetamine if you want a stimulant. If you're on amphetamines, oxycodone, you got a whole array. You got your own pharmacy, right? Probably benzos are one of the hardest things to get off of. Yeah, that's what I feel. Yeah, the main concern I have for Trump energetically is not just being exposed, but the possibility that shiny. Yeah, but if they were psych meds, I can't imagine that psychiatrists and doctors in a prison in Spain would have had no problem filling that prescription, because that's not The problem that I'm going to have as a physician, if I have a case like this and you're coming, say you come to see me because, oh, I'm out of the country and my doctor prescribed oxycodone or benzos. I see no reason for you, given your past medical history, to be on these medications. I would probably pull it. Or I certainly wouldn't, or you might not tell me that you were on it. It might go unnoticed by the people overseeing the prison. Right, Marie Henson. Amphetamine's not so good for someone with mania. Cocaine is also an upper. It raises both adrenaline and dopamine. But you can get a prescription for dexedrine or some other amphetamine that's going to have a similar effect. And if your doctor prescribed it because you have narcolepsy or you're falling asleep because you're a tired business person, hey man, diagnose me with narcolepsy. I fell asleep, right? This is what happened with Trump. He had to be up at 2, 3 in the morning in the casinos, awake, watching the money. Amphetamines, right? And then you can't sleep because you're up till 6 in the morning counting money. So what do? You take a benzo, right? And then what happens when you have to wake up and function and you're on benzos? You start slurring your orange, right? I should never do press conferences at 9 in the morning. I took that benzo at 6 a.m. I had to take the benzo because I took the amphetamines at 4 p.m., right? Because I knew that we were going to have a late night and then I was flying to wherever. And then I had to go to that event and I only got 2 hours of sleep. I couldn't fall asleep, so I took the benzo. And now I'm in the middle of, so what do? You tell people, okay, let's make sure that the president only speaks at such and such times. Let's dry him out. Like, okay, have a press conference at 1 p.m., 2 p.m. But early morning press conferences and somebody who's playing yo-yo with amphetamines and benzos is probably not going to go well before 10, 11 a.m. That's what I think happened to a lot of these people. And I think that's probably what happened to Donald Trump. I don't think it's strokes and MIs because his symptoms to me look more like benzodiazepine addiction. Okay. Let's do it. What else do we got here? Okay, any more questions today? Okay, we have a question here from Taylor B. She writes, Secretary Mnuchin, let's go ahead and pin this for her. Hi, Taylor B. She writes, Secretary Mnuchin has been under the radar. Was he involved in the criminal activity of 45's administration? What was his involvement as the money man? Well, that's the whole argument. Somebody had asked about aliens, like they've been here a long time. If it's an advanced species that's been here for 10,000 years or whatever, building pyramid, now they've just released something from the Pentagon that there's some black. Did you hear about this? They've detected a black pyramid near the North Pole under the permafrost. I mean, I can't handle this. I'm a scientist. I just can't cope. Seriously, those of us with scientific, we're having kind of meltdowns. I need to, hi. Do you want your stuff? I'm going to give my cat, hey, do you guys want to see? I grew catnip for Mila. Why don't we give her catnip? Hey, Mila, let's go. Come on. And give you your catnip, and then we can, come on. Yeah. Yeah. Let me show you. Come on. Yeah. Yeah. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Let's do it. Where did it go? Where did it go? Did it go? Did it go? Did it go? It's for you. It's for you. That's what she was doing. I have dried catnip up here, so she was being annoying because she wanted her dried catnip, but I also grow it for her. Do you know what it smells like when she chews on it? It smells like raw marijuana. You enjoying that? She likes it. So it's in the mint family. Okay. All right, we're looking at what's going on with Secretary Mnuchin. Catnip. We can't find any opioids in catnip. We can't find anything like that. The joke is that they get high on it, but we don't seem to find evidence of that. What I think it's like a really good mint tea. You know how we all like to have a really good mint tea that's just strong and good, like an enjoyable brew. It's very pleasant. So that's basically what it is, I think. She just really enjoys it. You got a piece here? You gonna eat this one? There you go. Here, got a little piece here. But no, there's no opioids or cannabinoids that I understand.
Lovey-dovey voice.
Okay. Mnuchin. What's going on with Steve Mnuchin? He's under investigation by Pelosi, and the investigation concerned misappropriation of funds, and he's facing potential legal problems. He could be charged based on that investigation within a year. That's the remote. Want to see the cards? It had to do with the fact that Pelosi oversaw the budget, which is Congress. So there was an investigation that was started because they were not forthcoming about what was going on. You can see a star, right? He's the star. So you don't want to be the star witness in a criminal investigation. So that's not good, right? So we have the star witness. Then bad news for him, you've got the Four of Pentacles, which is to examine closely, look in the mirror, frugality, tight, right? You're constricted, you're looking. It's also a microscope or a camera. Then the question is, who is doing this to this guy? Who has him as the star witness under the microscope? Nancy Pelosi. And you can see here the investigation, the master. Oh, sweetie, you dropped it. And then the final outcome here is the sword of justice, truth. The truth coming out within 1 year, possible conviction or charges. Honey, what'd you do? You dropped it. Yeah? Did you drop it? You on the ground? Okay. Okay. Go all over the ground there. It's right in there.
You ate it all. Yeah. It's a good little cat.
All right. So what we seem to have found out is that Mnuchin, some type of an internal investigation was started because Mnuchin was not answering basic questions. There was gaslighting. He was hiding information. And so that triggered some kind of action on the part of Nancy Pelosi, and it possibly involves the military or something's going on where military or policing was involved in the investigation, and it will result in some kind of it almost feels like it's already over because of this card, and that's my 1 year. If I were him with Pelosi, she's doing an audit. That's the best way to describe this. This is an audit. Do you see that? Those of you who are readers, it's an audit. Pelosi. Look, under the microscope. He's the star witness. Look, with cards like that, I would assume he would flip. If it were me with cards like this, and he was taking orders from higher up to be moving money around and then hiding it from Congress after the money had been earmarked elsewhere, and you've got Nancy Pelosi asking you pointed questions and you're jerking people around and you're not answering the questions, and so this triggers an audit, and somehow the military are involved or intelligence is involved because we need to know where the money went. That's what we're looking at. Dang. I didn't expect that. God, how could people just all be criminals like that? Isn't that weird? Like, didn't they know did they think this was going to go on forever? That Trump was going to be there forever? Eventually, the party was going to end. It's like they all thought they had immunity. They all thought they had protection, and they didn't. I would not want to be somebody doing something wrong and have this be my future. Yeah. She's one of those people you really don't want to upset. Oh, welcome to the Impasse journey, Martha. Be sure and turn in homework from classes 1 to 2 if you would like certification. The catnip in the eyes is not a good idea. According to Takis, this is a happy tale. Happy tale. You have a happy tale. Yeah. I'm sorry. I was just saying hello. He's a good kitty? All right. She's never had a problem with catnip. She seems to enjoy it. And then she wants to play afterwards. Like right now, she wants to fight. It gets her kind of excited. Might have a stimulating effect. Well, mint can be stimulating. Okay. Okay, so now we have a question from Llama Bryant. Hi, Llama. She says, has Rosemary Vrablic, Donald Trump's private banker at Deutsche Bank, who left the bank early this year, already flipped on the Trump organization? Wow, good question. All right, Deutsche Bank flip. She was approached by the international community, not by the feds. Thanks, Mercedes. Appreciate that. What happened when I go into the remote using the quick technique is that it appears that somebody, possibly from the EU, and they were very respectful, by the way, they were not hostile. Somebody in a very polite way reached out to this individual and asked her if she could or would be willing to participate in the investigation in exchange for some kind of an immunity. And this appears to be an international investigation based on the EU, the West, trying to nip corruption in the bud because it's a security concern. If we don't know where, it's not just that people aren't paying their taxes. We don't know where the money is coming from, and we don't know where the money is going. You can see here, and this is what we call using a fetish object, where you go to your gut, and then you feel the, try to connect with the target, and then your gut tells you what the cards mean. It's basically the best way to describe it. So you have an 8 of Wands, which means a quick, quick, quick. Here you have the 6 of Cups. When I meditated on this card, what I saw was a very polite man. This is one of those guys that speaks English, Dutch, and French. And he's approaching you, and you have no idea who he is, but you're a little concerned that he's talking to you, but he's actually pretty polite and he's really kind, and he seems to not be out to get me. This is kind of a feeling like, hello, Mrs. Vramlik. I am with the Hague, and we have been investigating international fraud, etc. We would like to speak with you regarding this case. We don't want to hurt you. We're not interested in prosecuting you. We are asking if you can help us in an ongoing criminal investigation. That's the energy. 6 of Cups. And then what happened as a result of that comes into Page of Cups, healing. We're not interested, Mrs. Vramlik, in prosecuting you. We are respectful. We have no ill will towards you. We are simply attempting to get information about what is an international, but we come in peace. And it doesn't serve us to go after you. We just need information. Will you help us? We won't prosecute you, but this is what we need from you. So as a result of that, which is the right attitude, very smart of them, you can see quick, quick movement, the karma. She flips because of the way that they approach her, and she flips because they're not out to get her. If other readers have a different interpretation of those cards, but that's what my gut felt. I'm going to pick this up for a second. Naughty kitty. Yeah, Bitcoin's a problem. Bitcoin's a problem. All right, so I think there's a couple things going on I want to mention. I want to mention again that I will be at the Feel Good Festival and Futurist Expo, July 17th and 18th, and I will be one of the speakers there. We'll be talking about human evolution, cooperation, and how humans are evolving towards creating a beautiful world. Are you falling asleep or doing something else? What's going on with you?
You want to fight? I don't have time now. I'm live.
So I do have some comp tickets for people who are volunteers. If you're a professional reader and you would like to volunteer, I do have a table for us. I'll be staying in Midtown at the Embassy Suites. If you are also looking for a place to stay and you'd like to hang out, and they give a great free breakfast, by the way. And we do have a driver, or you can use your own car. For those people who want to go and listen to great music at the expo, we do have people who are members of this community. I think they have a code, a 30% off tickets for people. I'm going to try and see if I can't find that. Hold on a second. But if you are going to the Feel Good Festival, and you want to get tickets at 30% off, let's see here. I'll find it. It looks like Susan Lin, psychic medium, will probably be joining me. I just got a text from her. I would really love to see one of the nasty women represent too, just because I would like to have as many of us there as possible. And yeah, I don't know if she's going to be staying where I'm staying or. All right, I don't know where it is, but when I do find the promo code, I will publish it. There's evidently a lot of people coming up from Florida. If y'all want to meet with me the night before and have dinner somewhere in Atlanta, maybe go listen to some music or something. I think I'll be there at 8 p.m., but it's totally cool if you want to hang 8, 9 o'clock. I'll check in if you want to go out and maybe have late drinks or something. And then I guess we'll go down. If you are volunteering, if you want to work with me to, do a little bit of volunteering and helping out, I do have a comp ticket for you, but you do have to volunteer. Yeah, so it'll be Jen Lin, or not Jen Lin, excuse me, Susan Lin and myself, and hopefully a couple of other readers who are going to be joining us. So I have to I'm getting all the promo stuff, but if you're driving down and you've got some pretty stuff stuff that we can put up for the readers booth, because I can't carry it on the plane, right? I can't carry like crystals and beautiful stuff like that. So if you are helping in the readers booth, then if you could bring some pretty things to decorate it, that would be nice. That sounds fun. Yeah, it's the Feel Good Festival. We have Caribbean music. It's people from all around the world sharing their healing, their art, their music, their food. We also have futurist tables, so people that are dedicated to creating a beautiful world, scientists, researchers, people involved in things like hydroponics, feeding the planet, food production, saving us from global warming. It's all the futurist technology. Those folks have merged with the traditional healers from all over the world, and we are all coming together collectively for the purpose of helping the planet and helping one another feel better. That is the function of the Feel Good Festival. And I will be there. In fact, I might be there every year if this works out. Because I believe somebody had asked, will they be taking the Feel Good Festival beyond Atlanta to other states? Yes. The eventual goal of the Feel Good Festival is that the people that are organizing it would like, look, we don't have to hate each other. We don't have to hurt each other. We don't have to drop bombs on each other. This is not the true nature of what it is to be human beings. I'm an anthropologist. Trust me on this. The nature of human beings is cooperation and help, which is the focus of the lecture I'll be giving. Yes, the Feel Good Festival is going to be outside Atlanta, Georgia. And I think it's in Griffith or something like that. The festival dates are July 17th and 18th. And I'm having trouble with my codes. But I will, you know how I make comments in our community post? As July 17th and 18th in Atlanta, Georgia. And we have 20 comped tickets. If you can spend a couple of hours volunteering, and then you can go off and listen to some great Caribbean music, eat some good food. There's going to be food, there's going to be music, there's going to be African Caribbean dancing. I'm really into dancing, so I want to join some of the drum circles that are going to be going on and some of the African dance circles, because I'm really into that sort of thing. And I really think that dance is also a great way to trance or to get into altered states through dance. So all of that's going on. I think this is going to be huge. But yeah. If you're going to be there with me, and if you want to help serve, right, as an empath, let's represent the empaths, right? This is what we were made to do, right? Okay, let's go ahead and put what Melissa Miller has just said. Melissa Miller says that Russia is threatening the UK. Remember when we had done the remote and the tarot cards on Putin, and I felt caught? Thank you, Marie. That's very kind of you. I appreciate the donation. I felt caught as Putin, particularly when they showed me that list and said, if you want to get back into the G7, you're going to have to fulfill this 4-point plan to reestablish trust between these two countries. And the outcome was the Knight of Swords, which can be erratic, aggressive military action. So I think because he does feel cornered and frustrated by what happened, and because his resources are limited, it doesn't surprise me that he, based on the emotional state he's in the remotes, that this is happening. Okay, I think I'm going to close now unless people need anything else from me. Yes, we did a throw on Rudy Giuliani. He's in a lot of trouble. Okay, everybody. She's going to sleep now. See that? Right, Marie Hansen. She says, threatening to hurt me is not going to make me want to work with you. Exactly. But, when you feel threatened and there's 8 people in a room and they're pointing at you and they're saying, we've got the goods on you. You're caught. We got everything. You can't financially. We're united, 7 against 1. You're bankrupted. Yes, I'm bankrupted. My country is bankrupted because you bankrupted our country by lying to us, completely tearing apart the Soviet Union. And now you're telling us if we don't live in abject poverty as the servants of the West, compliant, you're going to destroy us. So of course we hate you. This is what it is to be Putin. Of course of course we hate you. Put yourself in our shoes. What if we were to break up the 50 states and bankrupt you so that you had an economy like Italy? You think you'd like us? Of course you wouldn't like us. And we did some very good things when we were in those areas. We created schools and education. Those kids had a 90% illiteracy rate before we got there. You really think that we're the bad people? Do you think the teachers who dedicated their lives in Uzbekistan and these remote areas trying to get education and vaccines and food, these kids didn't even have enough food to eat before the Russians came in? You think that we're terrible? You think our teachers who dedicated their lives to those areas? And do you think they're better off now that we're gone? Well, they're not better off. They still, malnutrition is still happening in remote areas of Mongolia. The illiteracy rate is rising. They don't have the medical care that they had when we were there. We pulled out, and the infrastructure, because they don't have Soviet support, is starting to collapse. Did you really make their lives better? I don't think so. So of course we hate you. And now you're giving me a 4-point plan about what I need to do after what you did to us? And don't blame Putin. You did this before I was in charge. So that's where he's coming from. So yeah, it's frustration, it's aggression. And, it's interesting as a remote viewer when you see both sides of it, right? Yeah, it's interesting. I like the morning videos too, Paul. I will try to do it more often so that everybody, including fans of the channel in Europe, can join us more often. I'm not saying I agree with Putin or this line. I'm just saying this is, when you're a remote viewer, there comes a point where as you're connecting and listening and listening and listening, true empathy, you get to a point where where you hear the other person saying, put yourself in my shoes. Put yourself in my shoes, Dr. Whimsy. Put yourself in my shoes. Okay. And then I physically will feel an energy shift as I put myself, okay, I'm now in Putin's shoes. And then when I do that, that's when I will sometimes get imagery like the fact that they handed me this bullshit list, right? You had to, after everything, you've completely bankrupted our trade. You sent terrorists in through Saudi Arabia that threatened the lives of our people. And now you're giving me a list. That's how it feels to be in his shoes. All right, I'm going to let everybody go. I have an elders video I'm shooting today. If you are an elder, we'll be focusing on the issue of the silent killer, which is hypertension, and things that you can do to reduce hypertension risk and to get the blood pressure down that are safe, effective, and don't cost a lot of money. So that is today's video that we'll be shooting for our elders that are learning kitchen table naturopathic medicine. Yes, Marie Henson. It will be a video on blood pressure. All right, love and light, everyone. If you're still trying to get in for a reading, I would love to work with you. You can go to tarotwithwhimsy.com. If you would like to make a telemedicine appointment with me for general wellness coaching and to create a naturopathic program for you, I do see people via Zoom, telemedicine, and you can go to drwhimsy.com, DOCTORWHIMSY.com. Have a great rest of the day, everyone. You're awesome. And we'll see you next time. Peace out.